Hello, everyone. Good night. A Monday night at 8 p.m. on East Coast. Wow. I know the missus and I did a show the other night, but dang, it feels different to get back up on the saddle again. Uh, Actually having to talk, not just driving through in the car and talking and chatting away and or sitting behind the controllers and playing Fortnite. I actually sit here and talking with you great folks. Hey, it's Dadman Walking 55 here on, well, I've advertised it as a sports weekly with Dadman, which we do have a number of kind of interesting sports topics to talk about, a few news stories, but we're kind of also going to make this a chill chat tonight in a way and do some non-sports related things as they come up, depending on how the chat goes, depending on what we're doing, talking about, or whatever else there is. So, hey, just sit back, saddle up, get ready for whatever we're going to do, whatever will happen tonight, and we'll have some fun together and see where this goes. Thank you for everybody that will be here, those that are lurking. Thank you all for being here. Um, and with that note, we're just looking, make sure the tweets went out. There's a message. Oh my gosh, what a day! Actually, I have to tell you, getting back into the flow of things now after having sat having to been out for 16-day trip. Yeah, and now back to work. Today was very interesting, I will tell you. It was very interesting to see uh, what happened, the changes at work, get caught up, all that good stuff. So it's it was a definitely very interesting day, I will say. Not the not the worst though to come back to. There was actually not a lot that had happened, so at least I didn't come back to any big fires. That's always a good thing, not to have to be able to come back and not have to put out fires as soon as you've gone line. You've got back to work. So right, hey, and let me just say hello. A lot of things have happened for us along the way. Lots of cool things. Let me see if I want to do something here. I do want to do this right here while I'm looking at things. I'm trying to multitask here because I want to kind of update a little bit with the channel right now and see how, show you some things here. And hello, Mrs. Thank you for being here, my love. Great to see you. Great to see you here with me tonight. But we take a look at some things here we've got. The channel has actually grown while we were gone on the road. I don't know how many of y'all have seen a lot of our shorts. We had a recap the other night where we talked about the trip and things like that, and we mentioned a number of the shorts and other things that we've got. We actually have actually grown, pretty good. Probably about close to 20 or so new subs since we last did a regular broadcast like this. So we had the drive streams. We have had shorts while we were away. When we got back, we had some Fortnite streams, things like that. So, and hello, hey Steve, good to see you. You're leaving to pick up Maddie. It's 5 o'clock. All right, as they always say, there's 5 o'clock somewhere. But thank you, man. Thank you for coming by and saying hi, Steve. Always good to have you coming by. I know you always hit that like button too. So anybody here, make sure you smash that like button on the while you're lurking, on the way out the door, whatever you do. So, but hey, Monday night and sports is what we usually talk about. If you think, but before we get to that, let me show what's going on with the channel. Tested you. I removed myself to see if y'all were paying attention. Okay. Actually, and hello, Castle. Castle's in lurky mode. Always love the lurkers. Thank you, Castle. And what an icon avatar out there, sir. Alcorn is proud, even popped or not popped. Well, look here. I just wanted to show this real quickly. What we've got here is just to recap kind of where we are right now. We're approaching 300 videos now with all the drive streams we were able to do. but we've pulled up to 273 subscribers now. We've added at least one today. So, like I said, we're up about 20 from when we left, which I think is incredible. So, 300, we celebrate our anniversary on August 19th. It'll be the 1 year mark, and would love to be at 300 before that point, but if not then. So, hey, just to show you what's going on with the channel here, we've put out a number of shorts here. See Floridian Sea Snow Castle, The Falling Star, which is dedicated to the first known survivor of a meteorite hitting them. And of course, prairie dogs, 537 views. These lovely little prairie dogs. Of course, one of our favorites also was Uncle Lou's Fried Chicken in Memphis, Tennessee. So, hey, there's a lot here to be seen with the shorts. We also have our live shots here, which has a lot of our drive streams that we brought up. Yeah, they're kind of long, but you know what? You can always scroll through them, find some good things in them. There's been some wildlife in some of them, and you see our detour the other night. We have the playlist also set. So we had the detour with the Dadman 6-day adventure. We got it all set up that way so you can help yourself find what you want to look at, on an easier basis. So that is kind of where we're sitting right now in this overall summary of the channel since we left and got back. But hey, alrighty, folks. Hey, so we got 4 of y'all wonderful people here in our chat. Make sure you hit that like button. And we'll see, like we always say here, if you have questions, make sure you ask them. If you have a point, there's no such thing as a bad question or a dumb question. We're here to help. We're here to answer questions and, hopefully help you not fear sports as much. We can make it geeky, nerdy, all kinds of stuff. It's very easy to turn sports into some kind of nerdum or geeky club. So the jocks will not admit it, but it is possible. That's why you have the statistician, the guy that carries the clipboard, crunches the numbers, the future actuary, the future accountant there that just goes crazy with numbers. But that is, that's where we are with that. So let's take a look first. We will look at, and hey, we got Stunning and Brave in here. Beauty and the Beast. Oh, wait. I thought it was a Fortnite date night stream. Well, we have to have another one of those soon. So I know I'm the beauty. So just kidding. I know Mrs. is definitely the beast. I mean, Mrs. is definitely the beauty. I'm the beast. Ugh, what am I saying? Oh, dear God. All right. But hey, let's say 2-week layoff effects. So coming in hot and crashing in deadly fashion real quickly. Let me scratch. Gotta scratch. I started itching. Excuse me. All right, so let's go to our first story of the night. We're going to take a look at the status of the NHL playoffs, folks. We are going into Game 5. You have the long shot Florida Panthers and the Vegas Golden Knights, and Vegas is one game from winning another Stanley Cup. Panthers has surprised everybody from coming out of the Eastern Conference, but now running into the buzzsaw, which are the Knights. So not a lot to say here, not a lot to see here. The question is, can the Panthers win Game 5, send it back to South Florida, and a chance to tie it up? But generally, odds are not good with that case. You see that they're barely a little bit over 500, 10 games over 500 this season. So, yeah, it can happen, but being in a 3-1 hole is very difficult to come back from. Can't be done. It's not impossible, but it can be done, but not very likely with that, being able to do that. So, basically, there's uncertain status of Panther star Kachuk. And there's other NHL news, but you The NHL playoffs uh, are so fun because the season ends here in June, and that's lots of fun. It's amazing when your sport starts in the fall, goes through the cold of the winter, and ends in the heat of the summer. So we got that. And like I said, we're going to probably get through a lot of these news stories tonight. But hey, we talk about the NBA. We also have a 3-1 series there also. The Denver Nuggets on the verge of winning their first NBA championship against the Miami Heat. Uh, look at the Heat record. You would not have thought that they would have been in the finals, but they are, folks. Uh, surprise you all the time. But the Nuggets at 53-29 overall regular season. The Heat at 44-38, barely over 500 in the regular season. So all I know about Denver, Colorado is I don't ever want to drive there again. So I do not want to go to drive through Denver again. That was in the dark, in the heavy rain, flooded roads. It's pitch black. Yeah, not a good place. And construction everywhere. So, and that's a good observation that the missus has. The Florida teams are not doing well in the finals. LOL. So, absolutely. So, and she agrees that no to driving in Denver. Yeah, if you heard us the other night, we are not kidding. She spent the whole last hour of the drive singing the exit numbers down and then reading billboards or whatever, making stuff up. It was it. I will say I would love to have had it recorded, but it's definitely one of those precious moments that just, uh, just meant a lot. It was one of those special moments. It's kind of good to be there in the moment. So, but yeah. Yep, no for Denver. But we did find a quilt museum up there, though, which was really, really wonderful to go to. Um, but it was actually not in Denver. It's actually over in Golden, Colorado, which is kind of a suburb. So, but it was a great trip, great thing. They're there. The Nuggets hope to cap, their first NBA championship this year with this season, having beaten the Lakers along the way, and just yeah, I think everybody wanted them to beat the Lakers as much as possible. So the Heat come up from the East, barely 500, being a lower seed. So you would think Denver should be able to take this one and easily end it tonight. But again, you never know what happens. You got to play the game, see what happens, and that's where it goes. So, all righty. Well, I'm going to take a little stop right here. I'm going to take a break. Thank you for everybody that's here today. We got 3 people with us. Thank you for lurking. I'm going to close a couple of these tabs down so I can take a look at some stuff here. And yeah, we again, back to the no and driving in Denver. Yeah, folks, that was one to experience. It was a combination of bad weather, dark roads, and construction for miles and miles. But I didn't know that Mrs. could sing as great as she could, but she was hella good at making up words and lines as everything went along. So, but hey, go figure. Hey, so let's see. Let's take a look at Major League Baseball now. We'll see where Major League Baseball is sitting. We'll take a look at the standings overall with this and ta-da. Okay, and then the American League, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays are, who used to be the Devil Rays. Why they dropped Devil, I don't know. Oh yeah, Stunning's giving Bell the inks. All right, definitely looking forward to seeing when that one's finished. Stunning, absolutely. But I don't think much has changed in recent weeks. We still got the East. Tampa Bay's ahead by about 6 games. Baltimore's having a good year, but the Yankees are chasing well back. And this is where wild card positionings come in play, because you see Tampa Bay is well ahead in the East, although Baltimore is doing very well. Baltimore is, if they were in the Central, would be leading the Central quite a while by quite a margin. So, of course, in this, your American League Central is your weakest division, and usually every year there's 1 or 2 of those. So this year it's the AL Central with Minnesota. leading that game with a 500 record by just a game and a half over the Cleveland Guardians. You got the Rangers leading in the West with 41-23 record, almost the same as the Baltimore Orioles record. So, oh man, yeah, I have to redraw our hand in the final version, but everything else is adequate. All right, that's good, dude. I mean, that's going to really look nice when you get that done. That's really, really a cool thing. I love that work. So, really not much to say. We're 64, around 60, 64 to 66 games through the season, 182 game season, which means it's the year's about a third over. So, of course, in July, there will be the All-Star break at about the midpoint of the season. And a lot's usually pretty well set at that point. But look at the Boston Red Sox. We got Boston Red Sox fans out there, but look, the Red Sox are 500. If they were in the Central, they would be tied for the division lead. But instead, they're the bottom team, 14 games back in the American League East. That really stinks to be in a division that's that good. So, Texas has a 5-game lead over Houston and a 6.5 game over the Angels of Los Angeles. So, of course, then you have the Marlins and you have the Oakland Athletics at the way, way bottom dumpster. But I will say Kansas City is not much better. I mean, winning 25% of your games is very, you can't even justify how bad that is. But hey, 25.5 games back from first place. Just imagine that. I mean, you might as well quit playing. Which leads us to a story that we kind of touched on a while back when I had Culture Casino on, and we're talking about government-funded stadiums and stuff. We'll get to that in just a bit with this. So, and we'll scroll over and look at the National League. Not quite as well as the Tampa Bay Rays, but you have the Atlanta Braves with a 3.5 game lead in the East over the Miami Marlins, who used to be the Florida Marlins. And then, of course, Philadelphia and Mets and the Nationals bring up the rear. The NL Central, the Cubs fell again. They're 6.5 games back. You would think that they would at some point have another decent year, decent team. But surprisingly, the Pittsburgh Pirates lead the division. Normally one of the teams that is bottom basement payroll teams, but they're actually winning on the field, have a 1-game lead over the Brewers. And really, the Cubs and the Cardinals are playing for the basement in this division. So, let's see. The Cubs have lost 1 in a row, but let's see. If you look, Arizona is leading the West, has won 5 games in a row. So, this is your overall baseball standings. Here right now, your division leaders are the Braves, the Pirates, and the Diamondbacks. And it's funny that the East and the West have the top 2 teams in each division has the same record. So 40-25 and 37-29. So you got that. So, all right. Here. So that is our Major League Baseball kind of update right there. But let's take a look at something a little closer. The Oakland Athletics, folks. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah. The Oakland Athletics at 17-50. Very bad record. Very almost comedic. If you ever watch the movie Major League, it almost sounds like it type of situation. So let us look at a news story about the Oakland Athletics, because as I mentioned in a previous show, we talked about the Oakland Athletics announcing that they were moving to Las Vegas. So let's see. So basically, what we got here is it's become a mess and a train wreck. As you can see from the animation in this story, this is the A's owner. Basically, what has happened is that the A's announced that they were moving to Las Vegas before they secured any guaranteed funding, government funding for their stadium and stuff like that. So, I so they assumed that basically it'd be easy to get taxpayer money, but as this article goes on to say, everything is on fire, and the owners, trying to work out what to do next. So it makes it very difficult. Kind of a big PR situation. We'll see a little bit more on the PR situation in just a bit with that. So they, let's see here. Uh, Basically, the art writer writes that the Nevada grew a backbone at the worst possible time for the A's. So even though this process there's usually rumors for years and all before a move happens, there's always talk and scuttlebutt before that was in. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was dumb. So they and in a previous article, the Raiders had moved to Las Vegas, and the Oakland Raiders owner of the football team did not really care what the A's were doing because the A's were doing things that held the Raiders up from improving the stadiums that could have left them in Oakland. Now, the Raiders have moved. The A's are still in Oakland. Don't have a guaranteed new stadium with where they're going to move, where they've announced they were going to move to. So, um, basically, so essentially what the A's did, as the article goes on, say, hey, we're moving to Vegas with hope someone else would pick up the tab. It hasn't happened. So they released renderings of a beautiful state-of-the-art facility that carried a $1.5 billion price tag, expecting the state to pick up a significant portion of the bill. However, he's been told that discussion of public funds would be capped at $380 million. And even then, that's been an uphill climb to get it passed. So, as a writer in here writes in the SB Nation, that State Bill 509, titled the Southern Nevada Tourism Innovation Act, might as well be called the Build a Park for the A's Act. One item, building a ballpark for the team. Since its introduction, there's been some significant lobbying to convince lawmakers to pass the proposal, including some fuzzy math. So, oh my gosh, hey, they got different examples in here. But can you imagine trying to move a team that's averaging very few and expecting 32,000 to attend each home game? That would jump them from 30th in the league in attendance to 11th in attendance, asserting that the A's will attract more fans than the Boston Red Sox, while only slightly fewer than the Chicago Cubs. So that would mean the worst team in baseball would see a 370% increase in attendance because of the move. So, the article goes on talking about the gymnastics with how to move the tax dollars around and stuff like that. And of course, there's a governor promise on a campaign promise of no new taxes. So, while the pro-A's members of the Legislative Assembly say it's not a new tax, just a part of an existing one. So, but, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul, whatever the phrase is. So basically, the debate on the bill was tabled till today. So, and for the A's, it gets worse as it gets drawn out. So, because as anything happens in the legislative process, more amendments get added to the bill, which complicates it, clouds the issue, makes the borders a lot muddier. So basically, what we've got here is a case with this where they what they've got is they've got a lot of legislative attention against them in some ways. They're asking for a lot. And a summary of what recaps here. They wanted $500 million, 500 million of public funding for a ballpark. They're getting at most 380 million max. Uh, there's no guarantee that the bill will pass. Without the state funding, it appears impossible a ballpark will be built. Now, remember, this was designed on $1.5 billion ballpark. No indication that the city of Las Vegas or Clark County, where Las Vegas is located, have a funding plan in case state funding isn't agreed to. The city of Oakland has moved on from the A's, and basically the A's have no home, just a handful of magic beans trying to plant in the desert. So, as it stands, the A's appear not to have support from Democrats in the state Senate, and they're constantly trying to lobby and get stuff going. So, hey, there you go with that. So, what happens if it doesn't get done? It's all murky at this point, according to the writer. Do they stay in Oakland? Well, they also need a lease agreement with the city of Oakland. You got to have that. But then again, the damage has been done. I mean, you've already announced to everybody, your fans in that market, we're leaving, we're going to Las Vegas. So with that, you've got this that comes up out of it is that in response, amid a potential move, defiant A's fans plan a reverse boycott at Oakland Coliseum. So, hey, why not? So, loyal Oakland A's fans, they love their team, and they came up with an unusual plan to protest the ownership group. They're actually buying tickets. So the organizers are calling on the A's supporters to stage a reverse boycott on Tuesday. They plan to give away T-shirts to the first 7,000 fans to arrive, hoping to make a statement with the biggest, most spirited crowd of the year. The goal is to sell out for a team with a dismal attendance all season that has regularly been topped by most AAA franchises. AAA minor league baseball. Like I was saying, if you've ever watched the movie Major League, this is your thing here. All right, this is the perfect situation here with it. So, what the T-shirts do say, made by a local company, read "Sell," which is to the owner to give up the team to someone who might keep it in Oakland. So that's kind of an interesting way that the fans can strike back. That they decide, hey, we've had enough. We're gonna try to foil your plans. We'll sell it like in Major League when they finally started selling tickets. When people started coming, they started winning, and then of course a magical movie. But hey, this thing is really interesting to see with the teams doing this, because one of the things you've got to consider too is that there's no guarantee that Las Vegas wants them. And hello to Buddy Hepburn. See, howdy, sir. Way back at you, sir. How are you tonight? Good to see you, my friend. And we've got 6 people here now. Make sure you hit that like button and sub if you haven't. We were just talking about the Oakland A's right now. We're in Major League Baseball. We're talking about the status with the A's ownership announcing they're moving the team to Las Vegas, even though they did not have funding in place or any guarantees the stadium would be built. So now the fans in Oakland are staging a reverse boycott Tuesday night, where there you go. There comes, I think, from a Californian out there. A's ownership and management sucks. I had an article a while back about what the Oakland Raiders owner said about the Oakland A's owner. Yeah, so absolutely. I think that's a widely shared opinion among many, many people. What's interesting, though, too, is the A's announced we're moving to Las Vegas, don't have guaranteed funding, don't have the problems in the Coliseum with where they are. There's no telling. I mean, the move has not been approved by Major League Baseball, so that's one other entity that's got to weigh in on it at some point. So it could be a case of getting cart before the horse, but we'll see what happens. And like I said, the status of this move is very murky at this point. So basically, the 7,000 shirts that read "Sell" uh, wanting the team to be sold to a new ownership that will keep the team in Oakland. Um, oh my God, I kept saying Major League, but look at this. Among those planning to attend, the drummers in the right field bleachers that used to echo the support franchise that's been in the base since 1968. I think of the drummers in Major League, the fans out in the center field bleachers. Um, so, and this article quotes a fan saying, quote, I've been a fan my whole life, raised in Oakland my whole life. No other sport connected with me like how the A's have and started going diehard mode in 2014. Personally, I'm at a loss for words as A's fans try again to keep their team in Oakland with plans already in full swing for a new ballpark in Las Vegas. To see not only A's fans but the other MLB fans help come together supporting the movement, I'm proud of the fans who participated. So, and as you, whoa, whoa. Obviously, I've not been in a major league market. Whoa. 2 tickets for $144 each, including service charges, and another $147.50 on parking. Okay, the seats are in 110, close to where she used to sit with corporate tickets. It's worth the expense to be there Tuesday, as she knows. With parking, it costs as much as an A-list Broadway show. Yeah, but you're paying for one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. That's what I don't understand, protest or not. Maybe I'm just a cheap old bastard. So, oh my gosh. So anyway, so basically, this is a movement by the A's fans that love their team, that want the team to stay in Oakland. To try to say something to get attention. Like I said, it's not only a statement to ownership, but to MLB and the whole world. It's not our fault we are here. Stop blaming us fans for someone who's basically telling me to stop coming by trading our players, raising prices, and taking away season ticket benefits like 50% concessions, 25 merchandise, $10 parking. We aren't going down with a fight. Yeah, exactly. In so many markets this happens. It's always the fans' fault. The fans get blamed. Jackson, we got another article about the Jaguars coming up, that historically the fan base has always been blamed for a lack of attendance, not supporting. But then again, when you have one of the worst teams ever, you keep putting on the field year to year, people get tired of it. They're not going to go spend the money. It's not like a corporation that can get a write-off and entertain clients with mediocre crap. If people pay their money, they want they want something worth their money. And Buddy says, it's 50-50. The A's haven't put any money back in anything lately, but the Raiders ruined the Coliseum when they moved back. Wow. I'm curious, Buddy, how did that happen? How did the Raiders ruin the Coliseum when they moved back? I'm curious by that, because I understood, I can find the article if I need to, that the Raiders owner Davis was quoted as saying basically the A's acted in ways that they could not make improvements to the stadium and do things that could have kept the Raiders in Oakland. So, but that's an interesting point. So, the thing is also, which is your dominant sport, baseball or football? Baseball has more games, but in a longer season, but NFL seems to be a higher attractive items, potential Super Bowls, things like that. You would almost think a city like Oakland, with their history and with their size, would have a state-of-the-art system, if anything, but to have the ability to try to attract Super Bowls, or big mainline sporting events, sort of like Jerry's World in Dallas. It's a thing. It's a drawing card for the metro area. But hey, that's interesting to hear you, Buddy, over there, over in that area. But yeah, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but it's apparently still going nowhere. Let's cut some of this stuff off. But yeah, but basically, yeah. So this is when the fans strike back, folks. So hey, pretty interesting situation, pretty interesting scenario to see how this goes, where you have a team that actually announced that it was going to move before it secured any funding, any design places just you know, hey, you can have land, you can have building plans, but if you don't have that funding's already lined up, yeah, you'll carry a big share of the cost yourself. 1.5 billion was the what they said the estimated cost of the designs were. So let's see. I'm trying to hit. Buddy had a comment here. Let's see. But he said they also tied up a lot of money into improvements they wanted, but did not want to pay for themselves, so no infrastructure was done. Yep, yep. That's the way of the NFL and the MLB. All the teams, now. So we had one where we had a bridge ramp taken down because the owner wanted to put it flat parking there because they wanted some kind of development area because they keep insisting downtown can support nightlife, and it's like people don't go to our downtown. There's nothing there, even if you put it in one district. Yeah, your dad could tell you way about it. I'm sure Brian can. I'm sure he can. Tell him hello for us if we don't see him tonight. But if he comes in, I'll go back and revisit this article too, if need be. So we talked about baseball standings. We talked about the hockey playoffs. We've talked about the NBA playoffs. And all right, hail to you, JT Kirk. Hail, sir. Lurking and making dinner. Well, let's say this. Damn it, Mark. So anyway, hail to you, JT Kirk. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for coming in. We got 8 people here watching. Thank y'all so much. Make sure you smash that like button and sub if you haven't. And, share it out, tweet it out. We're kind of getting through these news articles in the sports side faster than I thought we could, but plan on still talking a little bit longer, maybe bring up some vacation stuff. And there you go, JT Kirk. Mark leaves an impression wherever he goes, even when he's not there. Oh my gosh. Hey, so here's an article. We talk about government financing of stadiums. Like I said, we talked about that recently with Culture Casino. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a team, been around since '95. The first 2 years, well, they had to move the Florida Georgia game for 2 years so that they could do stadium construction and renovations. So since '95, what's that? That's almost 30 years. There have only been cosmetic upgrades. And well, 10 of y'all, thank y'all. Smash that like button. Say hi. Even if you're lurking, say hi. We like to say hello to everybody. But they made some renovations over the years, like installing those stupid pools in the north end zone section. It's like, yes, if you watch a Jaguar game on national TV, they will show people in the pools, kids in the pools in the north end zone. It's a bizarre looking thing. It really, truly is. If I'm allowed a Dadman rant here, I hate modern stadium constructions. It's all like for glamping or for loitering. Especially, we have a minor league baseball park. Dear God, if the yuppies don't go sit down and watch the damn game, they stand around all drinking up on the deck and concourse instead of in their seats. You got 13 kids' playgrounds where kids go running around. It's like our kids grew up in a stadium where we could lock them between the two of us and they could go in those few seats between us. Watch the game. Oh, and hello, Deborah Wade. Hello to you. Y'all are finally recuperated. I don't know that I ever will recuperate, and I might show a thing or two. Deborah, if you can if you have time to hang around, I have to share with everybody. Since we got 8 to 10 of y'all here, you've got to hang with me a little bit longer because I got something cool to show y'all with this. If you watched our live streams, you remember we had the Chirpy belt. Yeah, you're going to have fun with this one. So anyway, all right. My rant about modern stadiums, if they would cut out the glass, if they cut out some of the damn metal and all the frills and just build a damn erector set like in the 60s, make the stadiums cheap, make the damn games go affordable, and there. You might have people going to support a bad team like the A's. So anyhow, I think you know what it is. Yeah, you might. But here with the Jaguars, 30 years since significant stadium renovations, what they did is they left up the top west of the upper deck of the old Gator Bowl, tore everything down, built up and under around it. Okay, then they modified some of the club seatings, then they met the north end zones. Well, 30 years later, they are talking about significant upgrades to this stadium that are going to cause the team to have to move and play elsewhere for, I believe, 2 years is what they're saying. Um, yeah, JT Kirk says the stadiums need to be the same size, but increase the seat size so people can actually enjoy the experience. You know what? Yeah, that's true because they they sure think everybody has a bony butt in so many of those seats, and that is ridiculous. You know, but I guess it's the same thing for flights and all kinds of other stuff. But yeah, this is really crazy to see. And they take seats out, they move them around. They like when I said that the club seat areas they make them wider and they do different things. It's, I'm still old school. Put a metal bench out there and let everybody sweat, and we all to get do it good together. And Buddy says our normal season tickets were $62 each, $72.25 after the fees. The same seats are now $40. So have they gone down since the lockdowns? Oh, that's good. That that is good, and that may be part of trying to get the people back into the stadium. But what I that looking those A's ticket prices, oh my gosh, that's sticker shock. So, and is that for football or is that for baseball, Buddy? So, because I think prices base can vary from sport to sport too. So as to what people consider reasonable, what they would pay. See, I could pay 62 for football, but I would not pay 62 for baseball. It's A's baseball. A's baseball. Wow. Is it possible too that the bad team may have something to do with the reduction in price too? But man, that's wow. And that's what's hard with that. You're talking about if you're a season ticket holder paying for 81 games, a ticket to that price, that's a lot of money. And it's hard to stand losing when you're paying that kind of money out of pocket. So what's coming here? The next in the NFL is the Jaguars. There have been various rumors about where they might go. The University of Florida in Gainesville, possibly University of Georgia. There are different players, different stadiums in the area that they've kind of had talks with. Maybe Orlando. There's things, but this was new that came up while the renovations are ongoing at TIAA Bank Field. I think one option that's come up is Daytona International Speedway. Yeah, 101,000 seat facility down about an hour and a half away south of Jacksonville. They're actually having serious conversations about that. Now, you wonder if they're just going to leave them off the stands like NASCAR and have them play on the infield, or what they may do is like I think temporary like outdoor hockey where they can bring the seating down by the actual rink itself and things like that. There's different things that they probably could do, but at least seems like it's part of an early discussion. But actually, this is intriguing. If you know the Northeast Florida area, if you know Gainesville, where the University of Florida plays, this is kind of an interesting conception because if you know where Daytona is located, it's on the I-95 by the coast. Also connects to I-4, which leads into Tampa and from Orlando. Geographically and with roads, that could be a very good spot, a very good location versus Gainesville, which is where it is more small county roads and things like that. So basically, they released about a $2 billion project of the what they want of the area around the stadium, with the stadium improvements costing between 1.3 billion and 1.4. Under the proposal, owner Shadcom would split the cost of the entire project, but the city would pay a greater portion of the stadium renovations. So that's what roughly 700 could be around $700 million. All right, so if the city and the Jaguars agree on a 2-year stadium renovation plan, Jaguars will be forced to play their home games elsewhere. They've already had conversations to use University of Florida, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and Orlando officials to use Camping World Stadium. Hey, I got a wild, crazy ass idea. Because the rumors with this team has been that they're going to move to London for so long. Why not send them to London for a year or 2 years? Why not just and see how that works? That'd be an ultimate experience. And can an NFL team work over there permanently and play against the stateside teams? But I digress. So, man, other sites that I've mentioned include a nearby 11,000 seat baseball stadium houses. Yeah, there's no way that 11,000 seat baseball stadium for the Jaguars, a 9,400 seat stadium at UNF. So it would cost $125 million to add 20,000 seats to either facility to get them NFL ready. So you're talking about essentially 30,000 seat stadiums if they did it locally. So, But if they agreed to a 4-year renovation plan, they could play its home games at the bank, but it would add an additional almost $200 million cost to the stadium renovations. So it's interesting. So, Well, so it looks like the construction would start after the 2025 season. The deal is get the deal approved by next March and get it approved. All righty. I'm sorry, Deborah. You have a good evening. Take care. Thanks for coming by. As long as you have, thank you. So, but that's interesting. That we took a look at one team that saying they're going to move, and actually I didn't show the article, but you didn't need to see it because I kind of recapped it. But we had one article with the A's that announced a move, but had jumped the gun. Don't have the financing. We're looking here at a possible case where there could be a financed stadium renovation, yet you are left with the situation of how do we play our games. It's interesting to see there are two options. You can do it quickly with the renovations, but you have to move the team out because you have to accelerate the construction to get it done, or you take longer on the renovations, but it just means the stadium will be more of a mess for a longer period, but you can stay in your stadium. But then again, you have added cost to the tune of almost $200,000. So I don't know. What do you think? If you had it, which would you think would make more sense? Do you think the 2-year stadium renovation to get it done and find another place makes more sense, or should you take longer, keep the games local, even though it may cost you more? And JT Kirk says that the billionaires in Detroit have looted the city for billions over the decades to have the poor pay for their stadiums, only to generate very little revenue or good paying jobs in the Lions and Tigers. Exactly. I know it's a point that culture raised when we were having our discussion last time we talked, was like all this promised, who benefits from this stuff? It's Olympics or professional sports, whatever it's government finance, taxpayer finance, is always very murky as to, you hear all these pie in the sky promises, but, does it? Who really benefits? Who really receives the benefits out of this stuff? And like to JT Kirk's point is there are really not many good paying jobs that come out of these things. I mean, you end up with ushers and concessionaires and stuff like that, not what we think of as really good paying jobs. So, but hey, that's another article that we had here. So we talked about those with the moves. So let me see where we're at. So let me go back to a little bit baseball real quick. I needed to flip over to something else. So excuse me a second. Let's see. Try to flip down through here. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. Alrighty. So let me see if I can get this to come up here with college baseball. NCAA baseball. Yeah. Let's see. Let me go to, okay, let me improvise over here. So, because most of the field is set for the 2023 college World Series. Let's see, pull this up. And Buddy says that instead of London full time, they can share the Dolphins and Bucs stadiums on the road weeks too. That is, yeah, that's an interesting point. That is a very interesting point that you have there. That could work too. Teams have been known to share stadiums. So I was being cynical earlier, where I really was being very cynical with that. Because the one thing is if you're a Jag fan, if you've had to deal with it for so long, you've let's see, I'm trying to zoom stuff, so give me a second, folks. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah. As a Jag fan, if you're a Jag fan, you know that the rumor's been forever that they're going to move to London, this, that, and the other, and all stuff. So to me, it'd be a chance to try it if you ever wanted to try it, see how having a team over in Europe would work with all the other teams based in the NFL. The thing is, I don't think the owners would agree to even experiment with that because of travel. But you never know. All right, in the College World Series, folks. Hey, there are 2 games tonight going on. I know it's let's see. Let me get back to this here. Tonight we've got 2 game 3s. It's Southern Miss and Tennessee are playing. Let's see which. Let me get to this. Game 3. We got Southern Miss and the Tennessee Volunteers, and you got Texas Stanford in game 3, and Stanford leads 3-0 over Texas in the top of the 3rd. But as far as the rest of the field goes, the rest of the field has been set except for these 2 games. Let me work on blowing this stuff up a little bit more. So hard to believe. Ugh. Whoops. Hey. I blew it up too big, didn't I? Let's go. All right, here we go. All righty. Sorry, I don't have something better for it, but hey. Here, what you saw were the top 16 national seeds: 1 Wake Forest, 2 Florida, 3 Arkansas, who got knocked out in the didn't even make the super regionals, all the way down to Alabama as the 16th seed. Here you can see quite a Alabama, South Carolina, Auburn, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, LSU, Arkansas, Florida, 8 SEC teams in the top 16 seeds. So, and Buddy's going for Stanford. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, so Stanford has that 3-0 lead so far tonight. But the winner of that Stanford-Texas game will move on in the College World Series with the top 8 teams all seeded. Wake Forest will take on the winner of Texas-Stanford in tonight's game. Then the Southern Miss Tennessee winner will take on LSU in another matchup in the College World Series. The other side of the bracket is set currently with the Florida Gators playing the Virginia Cavaliers in the first round, and Oral Roberts, who moved on past Oregon, will take on TCU. Kind of the dark horse side of the bracket with TCU and Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts, being a 4th seed in the regionals, knocked off Oklahoma State, then knocked off the 2 seed Oregon in the Super Regional to move on to the College World Series. We see TCU advance by beating, coming out of the bracket with Arkansas. The Pigs lost at home in that regional. And then TCU advanced against Indiana State. TCU prevailed to move on against Oral Roberts. Let's look up here. Then, of course, the Gators are the 2nd seed overall. They dispatched Florida A&M, Texas Tech, UConn to advance to the Super Regional, where South Carolina came out of its bracket. The two SEC opponents played in the Gainesville Super Regional. The Gators moved on. Thank you, Lord. The Gators are good in something right now. And then Virginia comes out. See, it's interesting. You have an SEC matchup, and then in the next one, Virginia plays Duke. You got an ACC matchup. So Virginia beat Army, came out defeating the Army, Oklahoma, East Carolina in the Charlottesburg bracket. Coastal Carolina was the top seed, not Duke, but Duke advanced out of that regional but lost in the Super Regional to Virginia. So you have the Florida-Virginia matchup, Oral Roberts, TCU. And let's look real quick back over here. LSU advanced out of their own at home, beating the Beavers. Then they face Kentucky, another SEC matchup in the Super Regional, and advanced to the College World Series. So then Southern Miss is a 2 seed, comes out of the Auburn Regional, and then faces Tennessee, who was the 2nd seed in the Clemson Regional. So that's going to be decided tonight if the weather holds out. So, and then the other bracket, Stanford, Texas. Texas came out of the Coral Gables bracket by beating the Hurricanes. Maine, Louisiana. Then Stanford comes out of its bracket, beating San Jose State. Of teams of San Jose State, Cal State Fullerton, Texas A&M. So this game is currently in the top of the 3rd, 3-0. Stanford leads. The winner to play Wake Forest, who Wake Forest easily advances out of its bracket. And then they beat Alabama, who came out of its bracket against Nichols, Troy, and Boston College. So there, the field should be set tonight if the weather holds up over in I think Hattiesburg. I think that game is being played in Hattiesburg. But either way, there's a lot of bad weather over there. I would not be surprised if that game does not get finished tonight. So, but we'll see. They got to get done. So, out of it, what you have here, let's see, if just eyeballing, let's see, Wake, Florida. TCU's not TCU. So basically, you got Florida, Virginia. Let's see. It looks like you only have two, three. Looks like you only have 3 so far of the top 16 seeds that have advanced. Depending on what happens with Stanford, you could have 4. So hey, all right. But that's where we stand with the College World Series for now. JT Kirk says they could have the Dolphins and Jags both play against the visitors. Make one trip between them. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, there you go. You could find all kinds of different things to figure it out. But I don't think anybody would like it though, They get kind of grouchy, kind of grumpy. All right, so we got that. One more sports article that I've got too for this. Let's see. Okay, wow. Southern Miss, Tennessee is scheduled to play ball at 10:06 p.m. Eastern. That's over an hour from now. So, folks, that is a hell of a late start for a baseball game. If you played baseball, that is a late start. I mean, even playing like stupid old men's softball league, at some point after 9 o'clock, you start getting tired. Buddy, I know you're a baseball player. I don't know if y'all had any 10 o'clock games. I mean, sometimes, and it's from an athlete's perspective, some games now, you look at college football, they start games at 11 a.m. local times. How do you play that early in the day? Or what if you start a game at 10 o'clock at night, like in this case because of rain? How does the body react? How do you play? It's just there's a lot of factors into it. And it doesn't always mean you can just go right out there and play your best. So let's look at one more sports-related article before I get into some non-sports stuff, and show you about what we found out today with the answer to the squeaking belt that y'all heard on our live streams. So, hey, in 2024, the NCAA is moved to expand the college football playoff scenario to 12 teams, which is very interesting. This has been argued for quite a while. I'm curious to know what you in the chat think. Do you like the idea of the expanded playoffs? Do you not like the expanded playoffs? What do you think? Um, in this case, what you will have is that the what you have is this. What you have is a situation where you have uh, the top four teams will be have the automatic bye for the week for a week. The teams 5 through 12 will be pushed down into the first round, and they will play. Uh, Currently, is projected to be playing on home campuses. Okay, in the first round. Then after that, they would move to existing bowl games. So it's really interesting to see what they've done with this. Because right now it's currently as four. There's been four since its inception in 2014. Uh, so what's interesting is looking at this. This article takes a look at how it would have worked in the past. So and this is very interesting to see. So, of course, what we have as a playoff now is a move up from the Bowl Championship Series, which only included two teams in a winner-take-all championship. All right, so basically this will start with the six highest-ranked conference champions and six at-large teams. Playoff committee will continue to select and rank teams as they currently do. The first games will take place on either the second or third weekend of December, with at least 12 days separating the playoff and conference championship games. The top four seeds will receive a first-round bye. Those are reserved for the highest-ranked conference champions. Notre Dame or any other independent will never have the chance at a first-round bye because they will never play in a conference championship game. So you sports fanatics out there, that's a big issue. What do you think about that? That's always been a point of contention. Notre Dame specifically being the biggest of all the independents, and getting a lot of grace and benefit because of their name, but not ever having to win a conference title. So seeds 1 to 4 will begin the playoff in the quarterfinals. I guess they'll begin a choice of where they want to play the New Year's Day 6 bowl games. The 1 seed will pick first, followed by numbers 2, 3 seeds. 4 will receive the last slot by default. The bowl games for the quarterfinals and semifinals will be rotated on an annual basis. The current 6-year New Year's Day 6 bowls are the Rose Bowl, Sugar, Orange, Fiesta, Peach, and Cotton Bowls. The CFP championship game will continue to be played at a neutral site. Yeah, JT Kirk, Notre Dame needs to put on some big boy pants and join a conference. Absolutely. Absolutely right with that. Traditional bowl tie-ins are not necessarily a consideration in this model. While the Pac-12 and Big Ten representatives could play in the Rose Bowl, it would only be because of one of those teams was slotted to the Rose Bowl and then played the other in the quarterfinals. So seeds 5 through 12 will be filled by the remaining 8 highest-ranked teams using the CFP rankings, allowing for 2 conference champions. And it goes like you would in basketball: 5 versus 12, 6 versus 11, 7, 10, 8, 9. The highest plays the lowest on down. First round games will be played at the higher seeded team, either on campus or at another location designated by the host team. These games will not have any title or presenting sponsors like the bowl games would. After the first round, playoff will then play out as an 18 competition, starting with the quarterfinals. Playoff field will be reduced to 4 teams to the semifinals and then 2 teams in the CFP championship game. Proposed model strikes a balance between exclusivity and a level playing field, guarantees at least one team from outside the traditional Power 5 will gain access, which addresses a modern concern. One of the biggest concerns has always been, how do you get like the American Conference in if they have a good team like a Cincinnati or a UCF? It places importance in winning the conference championship, that if a team wins that game, it will at least have an outside shot of making the playoff. So it remains to be one of the smallest postseasons in organized sports, two fewer than the NFL, which expanded playoffs to 14 teams in 2021. So initially they said it would expand in 2026, but management committee was tasked with expanding earlier in 2024 or 2025. After the Rose Bowl's agreement signed previously, the 12-team playoff will begin in 2024. So, you know, initially people balk at the quick implementation, but you know what? Things happen. One of the, of course, getting the bowl games to sign off on a restructured format was a hard part. So the Rose Bowl was the last holdout. So let's go there. So let's look back at it this way. Okay, so what this article took a look is if they skipped the thing affected 2020 season. 2021. Here's how the 12 teams would have been. First seed would have been Alabama, second seed Michigan, third seed Cincinnati, fourth seed Baylor. Then you'd have 6 at-large teams: Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Michigan State. Then you'd have conference champions of Utah and Pitt from the Pac-12 and the ACC there. Okay? So in this case, Alabama, Michigan, and Cincinnati would have had the first round byes. Okay? So, and then, again, 5, 12, all those, and those have been played at campuses or home team designated sites. The 2019 season, LSU would have been the first seed, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma. And see, they kind of, like I said, based on how they rank, depends on their seeding, not whether they're champion or at large. So Georgia as at large would have been 5th, just outside the bye. Conference champions Oregon would have been 6th. Baylor, Wisconsin, Florida. Florida? Oh my gosh. Yeah, because we actually had a coach then. We got impatient with him. Of course, he did look at the NFL too hard, too much. Sorry, digress. 10, Penn State, 11, Utah, and 12, Memphis. So you got that. In that case, you would have had, so it shows these each year. And then in 2018, Florida would have been another one at 10th as an at-large, But see, what it does is it's going to expand the chances of a lot of teams beyond just the 4 beauty queens at the end of the year. You're going to have more than just Alabama, Ohio State, the Clemson, and then pick your other 4 team that random comes in and out. So, you just, I like this. I like to look at this. I like that it's getting more teams in. I think more football is not a bad thing. More football at this time of year is a good thing. It's not like they keep adding preseason games or things like that, or those kickoff classics. Yeah. So, and yeah, there are articles about that too. About this, the rankings will skew towards the bigger TV markets and the SEC until you get to 32 team playoff. Yeah, I believe that's right. And there are other articles about the effect of this playoff, and some complain the SEC will have an advantage, but don't underestimate the TV market size. Ratings will drive it. But I will say, at least just on the surface, from a football on the field standpoint, I don't see how it could be a bad thing, because like I said, 2 years my team would have been at least in a playoff, instead of just a chuckle bowl. So, and now, dear God, who knows what's going to happen with Florida at some point. That was no. Anyway, well, we won't get on to Florida. But hey, listen, when we get back to SEC football this fall, you'll hear plenty of rantings about the SEC. We'll see how this falls when we get back into football, whether it will be more SEC exclusive, or maybe I'll branch out a little bit more. I don't know. We'll have to kick around the format and see how we want to do that this year. Personally, my bias is to the SEC, and that's where I grew up in. I know more about it historically, and that's where my comfort level is. So, that's one of the things that we've got tonight with that. Hopefully, you've enjoyed these articles. Hopefully, y'all have enjoyed some of these articles, and that we yeah. Okay, sorry, just had to Let's look at something there, doing some research here too. Hey, Brian. Hey, you're here, Betty. Good to see you. Notre Dame will probably join a conference with the disparity between the current rights package with the NBC and what the Big Ten deal is said to be. Very true. Very true. It was interesting when they kind of had to join the ACC for a couple years there out of convenience. But will Notre Dame ever finally just join a conference for good? And but then again, you wonder. I mean, how can these networks keep paying out these kind of big deals for these agreements? It just seems like there has to be a bubble forming somewhere with them, and what these networks can actually eventually end up affording to pay. These teams. But yeah, and Brian, we talked about the Oakland A's move earlier. If we can go back on that a little bit if you want to. But yeah, Buddy said you were definitely the expert, Brian, on that. We talked a little bit about that earlier. But glad you could make it in here. And JT Kirk, the thing that kills me is the stupid new TV deals. Michigan opener is on Peacock, and MSU is playing on Fox Sports, BTN, Peacock. Yeah. How do you find these games? I mean, many times. Before long, you almost have to subscribe to every type of streaming or broadcast service to get some of these games. When Whoop and I talked about the XFL, the early season games were all on some obscure networks that, dear Lord, few people had them. So it's I do agree with these stupid new TV deals. One thing that's good is that it's not like the old days where you don't get to see your team play. You get to see them, but like I will say, it depends also on how are they, and how their reputation is. Because from my early look of what happens, like with Florida, that had a horrendous year this year, they're playing a lot of early games, 1:00 games, and oh god, I personally hate the 12 o'clock, 1:00 kickoffs. I want my football to start 3:30 or 7:30. I just don't like noon kickoffs. It's just too bright and just. But yeah, the TV deals, and that's going to be interesting to see when Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC coming up. What's happening with the Longhorn Network, and what happened with the Longhorn Network in light of the SEC network arrangement. And I don't know. The lawyers get rich in these cases because it takes them to write these contracts to get in them, get out of them, and to make it up the interpretation as they go along. So Brian says the XFL supposedly lost an estimated $60 million for this last season. That is very possible. That sounds reasonable. Because when you look at, I know Whoopa could tell you though, where he was in St. Louis, they actually had a good crowd there. They filled up an NFL. I mean, they didn't fill up, but they had good crowds at a real NFL stadium. So I'm just trying to do something here, but yeah. So it's in one case they did good for their market. I think DC, the Defenders played at a soccer stadium and actually had good crowds for the stadium that they were involved in. But then again, you go to Camping World Stadium where Orlando played, and oh my gosh, I should have gone down there and played. I should have gone down there and gotten some free, easy, cheap, dirt cheap tickets, take the missus shopping in Orlando and stuff. That would have been cool. So anyway, but hey, so let's see. Let's see. All right. All right. Well, let's look at this article. Thanks to Brian indicating that. Hey, XFL lost an estimated $60 million in the first season of its latest iteration. Yes, Mrs. Should have taken you shopping. You could have gone dropped me at the stadium because there were nobody in that stadium. You could have just dropped me off at the stadium and gone shopping and come back when I called you. It was so sparsely populated. But the XFL rebooted. This is the third reboot. because you had the one in 2001 with He Hate Me and the original thing. Then Vince McMahon brought it back 2020. It went bankrupt after that, didn't finish the year. And then, this season. So they rebooted, and the Renegades, uh, Arlington beat DC 35-26 to win the title. It was the first season for the XFL since 2020, when the league's return was spoiled at the halfway point due to the pandemic. It was the first full season that the XFL was played since 2001, when the league subsequently folded. If you remember what Whoop had said before, we talked to him in a previous XFL broadcast that, he seemed like the 2020 season, the efforts, the fan involvement were a lot better than they are now. So, it's just interesting to see the change from one to the other. So the early returns are not great on how it returned, how the returns are. As Brian had mentioned, the XFL reported lost upwards of $60 million this season and cut some jobs as a result. So now The Rock has a controlling interest and is not only looking to grow its following, but turn it profitable. So they have a business partner with Danny Garcia, but they believe there's a path ahead. Next season, the league has a revenue target of $100 million, with about a quarter of this income coming from TV partner ESPN, which pays the XFL $20 million per season to broadcast its games. So they believe that there's a path forward. The league has capital commitments in place for years, including sponsors with Progressive Insurance, Under Armour clothing. So they say that they're capitalized for the long term. This is our new WWE massive line property. So you just see what happens, and I think there's some wisdom in what Rock is saying here. My goal is to get through the first season. It's not just an endeavor that's to go to full up a portfolio and one day we flip it out, we're out. This is a legacy. It's a long game. So you really have to wait and see. Kind of the right attitude is to play the long game on this one to see how it will go. You might have to bear some losses, but the problem is, how long can you sustain losses? So, and JD Kirk, XFL versus USFL for bigger new league. Yeah. Because I think when our conversations with Whoopatu also, that was one of the other questions that we kind of try to kick around and deal with, was that what was the effect of having two spring leagues now? I mean, some people think some of the better players jumped to the USFL from the XFL. So, you've got two spring leagues now. Why not just have one and, work together to have spring football? But because people are not going to play in both leagues. But I do remember that some of the talk with the XFL was that their season started earlier. The design was specifically so that they would be done in time for NFL training camps in April or in early May. So, whereas the USFL is still going, so it's about have wrapped up, but they went beyond the early training camps and the NFL draft. So, and Brian, I think some people have said that at the 2020 they were doing pretty okay, but then the lockdowns, as you know, took out so many things. Brian says the USFL is interesting and the field of play is better than the XFL, but the games are not nearly as fun to watch. That's true. I mean, I don't know. I've not been able to watch the USFL yet, Brian. But if you have, are they more like the NFL rules? Because see, the XFL had the things like with the you can't kick an extra point. You have to when you do a kickoff, the team lines up 5 yards away, and you got to can't kick the ball in the end zone, but nobody can start to run or block on a kick till the ball's been called. I mean, they got a number of different rules. You can elect to go for, instead of an onside kick, a 4th and 15 conversion in the fourth quarter. They had those kind of rules that kind of made it exciting and changed, especially what we saw early in the year with St. Louis converting one of those 4th and 15 and coming back to win a game on the road. So, yep. That's very interesting points. I mean, so yeah, and Brian says that yeah, they are more like the NFL. Yeah, and JD Kirk, USFL has some rules that are different and good evolution of the game. Okay, cool. That's good to hear. I let's see. Let me take a look real quick, see where they're at. I just have not been able to get into it, especially since um, especially since we've been on the road. Just got off the road. Let's see here with this. Uh, go here. See the schedule. Da, 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 da. It's interesting that looks like going through this. They they are still going. Yep. They just finished week 9. The last regular season weeks this weekend. Okay, week 10, June 17th, June 18th. So this is the last week for the USFL. So Brian says the challenges are done like the XFL with a real time guy and crew doing them. Oh, that's cool. I wonder, do you get to watch inside the booth like they did for the XFL too? And hey, Wade, congratulations. Yeah, I don't understand having so many multiple channels, but hey, good luck for you there. But hey, thanks for coming by and saying hi. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button if you can. Just appreciate the support and that you're here with us, and that way have a record of your visit and sub if you haven't also. So we're trying to get to 300 hopefully by August. So this will be fun, to see the USFL. Yeah, so yeah, they do. Okay, well that's kind of cool. Although it's funny when I watch one of the XFL ones, I still disagree with the review guy. It was like very kind of it was very crazy. I was like, no, what are you looking at, dude? So it's it was one of those situations. So let's see. I have another article on the 12 team playoff format for college, but it does get to the viewing audience in a bit, and the concern for good football and matchups, especially in light of the NFL around the same type of team. So, and like it ends with, it's not necessarily about competing with NFL games. It's about quality of college football playoff games versus NFL regular season games. It's good football versus bad football. Always will be. Yeah. So at the end of the day, that's the thing. That's what it comes back down to is your football. The quality of the game. So, all righty. So, folks, let me see what we've got here. I, we got 8 people watching us. Wow, thank y'all. Glad to have y'all back after a bit of a hiatus. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap up in a few minutes because let's see here. We'll cover our sports. Yeah, please. If you have any thoughts on the A's moving, any things that we talked about earlier, please throw them out there. Let's talk now. I'll go if y'all got comments about things. Love to hear it. Love to hear what you have to say. JT Kirk says, what I love about XFL and USFL is I didn't see a million kneelers, fist flying, or weird flags all over, just football. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is if you can also not just the kneeling and the politics stuff, but the fights and just the bad officiating. Bad officiating will kill you many times. And I know that even the XFL had major problems with some of its officiating at times. It was not a not. There were times it was very controversial, very inconsistent officiating, and like I said, even the booth review kind of I thought got it wrong at times. Because it's I'm sitting there one of the times and looking at it, I'm like, what the hell are you looking at? But hey, the guy in the booth has the final say so, and that's all that counts. With it's all that counts is what the final guy says and what he has to say. So, all righty. Well, we'll see how long we go. If y'all have other thoughts, comments, let me know. But hey, with 9 of y'all here, thank y'all for being here. Smash that like button. If you're lurking, hey, great, thank you. But listen, you remember the other night, uh, uh, we the missus and I did a stream where we talked about our trip and stuff and all that. A lot of y'all were along with the ride with us for the day streams, which was a wonderful event and a wonderful thing that y'all had. Oh, Wade, well, you spoke too early. I did do NBA at the beginning. I did do some NBA talk. I just basically said Denver at 3-1 is Denver's got a 3-1 lead about to play the Heat game 5 tomorrow night. And the missus made a joke about the between the hockey and the basketball team, the Florida playoff teams are really sucking it up tonight. Right now, aren't doing good. So we did get NBA talking, Wade. Oh, but I tell you, I love to get international sports. I like to get soccer. I like to get all kinds of stuff involved as we go along with this endeavor. But before I go to anything else, whether y'all have talked about it or if we just throw this open to some uh, other stuff that's non-football related or non-sports related, we did an hour and a half on sports. And thank y'all for being here talking sports and enjoyed it. Share it out with people. Hopefully, if you enjoyed this, hopefully we can get it to grow a little bit more. And I know there's not a lot with sports. I know it's hard to find a lot of stuff out there, and I just like talking sports. And glad you guys are here with us. But again, back to our stream, the trip, the drive streams that y'all were such a good part of. A lot of y'all that watched. If you remember, especially in the last day or two, we really were having some. Let's see, what is it? Wilson's Creek, which I believe was Monday. It was maybe Monday morning, Monday afternoon. Monday or Sunday. But basically, at that point, we still had a couple days home. You started hearing a big noise, big chirping noise, big bird. All bird in the, okay, all that, right? Okay. We we turned off the AC and figured it was the AC belt. Okay. Well, we got some pictures of. We got home. The baby went 6,009 miles on that trip, so it was due for more pampering. So, oil change again. Got some good look over. Now, granted, this vehicle just had an oil change and was looked over 3 weeks before because they did a new vehicle, which was, well, it's a used vehicle, but new to them, inspection, and everything they said looked good from what they could see at the time. Because I talked to one of the managers today to say, hey, how did y'all not see what we're about to see? Well, this is what a picture the missus sent to me of what our AC belt looked like today. No wonder we had a lot of chirping, and especially some very, very bad chirping. And this ain't the worst of it, folks. So, in the way this vehicle is set, this is the innermost belt. It is closer to the engine than the other two belts. It's got 3 belts. The missus said that the other 2 belts were not in this bad shape, but they were hardened. They were brittle. Castle, holy crap, man. Yes. So, yeah. Oh, and it gets better, Castle. Wait till you see the next picture I took. Okay. Now, the other 2 belts from the outside are more, if you lost this belt, you could just basically just go with it out. Let's see. From what I can see through the bottom of my beer bottle. And Kasang says, that's what happens when you run through gas stations. Oh, yes. And like the missus says, and you can see that here, there are gaps right in there, down in here and here, with no rubber on them at all. And this was what was making that god-awfully loud noise that people were freaking out about. Now, granted, AC belt, you could turn off and just not use your AC compressor, but the danger that they told us was that, if that slung off, if it damaged the other belts or did something else, we could have been stuck in nowhere, Montana, by ourselves with relatives going in the other direction. And with the cell phone satellite, the cell phone service that's up there, it was, it gives to what Castle said the other night about having a GPS tracker or something serious like that. And Mrs., we may want to invest in that if we ever do travel up into this type of mountains again, because we were in the middle of nowhere with some roads with nobody were passing on those. So yeah. And Castle says, quote, inspection. It sounded like a bomb. Now, it was a loud scraper, but hey, Miss said, let me go to the next picture. I think this is the part. See, there's rubber here. It's all gone there. All gone. And even then, see, there's gaps, little there, then all gone. That was what you were hearing. What the actual F? Yeah. It's like they said somebody was looking out for us up there. And yeah, and Brian said, that'll do it. That'll do it. And it was sad I mean, hey, we got home one piece. We just decided we were going to go with it. Nothing we could do at that point, but we got home in one piece, and the good Lord was with us and protected us through it. And yes, exactly. And that was one of the other factors that we had, is that it had 3 belts. It was not a single serpentine belt, because like our van goes off the serpentine belt, and it's like, you lose that one, you lose everything. At least this is old enough construction where, as long as it doesn't break off and break something else, it actually, wow. I mean, that's too stunning to speak about, because that was like, I figured it'd be something, but not like that. That is just amazing, folks. So, but hey, we got home. We did it. We survived one piece. We're all good. Yay. And that's what counts. So, but yeah, definitely wanted to share that with y'all, to let y'all know about that. That was a highlight of our night tonight. But yeah, like everything else, it's the labor cost that caused it to be expensive. But it was thought y'all want to see the answer to it. We'll have to show that again when we do some of our recap shows, probably on the conclusion of our recap show. We would have shown it the other night, but we just couldn't get it in before we did the show. Just took it in today. So, but yeah, but like I said, also, Mrs., I'm sure the GPS trackers are expensive, but I tell you, I think if you can afford it or have a way to do something like that up where we were, you might want to do it just as a matter of protection, because I think the worst drive was between Devil's Tower and Cody, Wyoming, except for a couple very, very small towns. It was isolated, and very few people came by in those areas. Okay. All right. We got a question. JT Kirk. What do you drive as a dad that is also a man and also walking? What do you drive as a dad that is also a man and also walking? I do not know, my friend. Tell me, what do you drive as a dad that is also a man and a walking? Can't wait to see this one. This has got to be good. This has got to be good. Let's see. Ta-da, Buddy Hepburn, you got it. I didn't even think of that. I did not even think that. JT Kirk, yeah, ba-da-ba-doo. All right. Well, that's a good one. What do you dive as a dad is also a man, also walking? All right. Or is he walking, or is he really running? Because, he's got those fast 2 feet. So, anyway, but hey, that's awesome. Congratulations, buddy. You got it. You got it. So, well, I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and call this show tonight. Didn't do as much chill chat stuff as I thought tonight. We actually took an hour and a half on sports news tonight. And thank you for the chat, for the talk. Thank you, everybody that was out here. Glad we got to share. We made it home. You got to see what we got. What made that horrendous noise? So, hey, it's a great night. We'll hanging out with you guys. We'll see what we do next. But hey, tomorrow night I'll probably be on a podcast over on Amanda Gillum's channel with for a bit, and then probably some gaming, probably some Fortnite tomorrow night. I don't know. Who knows? I might get a bug up my butt and do Fortnite tonight. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But just hit that bell. Make sure you get the notifications for when we go live. We'll see what happens. But the next scheduled show will be Wednesday night. We'll continue in our series of Chilling With shows, where we're going to have none other than the great Nick Weiser. The 32 flavors of Nick Weiser will be with us. Oops, hold on. Let me get my banner down. Let's see. Brand. There we go. There we go. We'll get rid of that for now. Done. But yes, Nick will be on the show with me Wednesday night, later time, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk pizza, things like that. Have a good time eating, and I don't know. I think I've got to have pizza that night when the show's on. You can't not have pizza when you're around Nick Weiser. So that and Dot's pretzel sticks. So, but hey, yeah. And then Brian Heber, poker chip pizza. Oh, the missus. Hey, all credit to the missus. All these graphics, these are nothing but the missus doing it. So thank her. Congratulate her for that. So thank you. And Les Castle says, good night, folks. And we will, let's see. So Wednesday night, join us for that. Keep an eye out for that. But as always, catch our live streams and videos on youtube.com at Dadman Walking 55. We're going to go back and do both on Twitch also at Dadman Walking 55 also. And look for streaming when we go live, and either day before, day ofs, or surprise streams. Follow me on Twitter at Dadman Walking 55 also. So folks, with that, let me double check. We got that. Let me see. Let me pull this down a second. Let me just make sure I got everything else done. Do. All right. Folks, 7 of y'all, thank y'all for hanging out to the end. Thank you for everybody that came in. Thank you for everybody that lurked. Thank you for everybody that did whatever. Thank you and all for, make sure you like if you haven't. Share, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you guys, and we will see you the next time all. Bye.